And greetings, casual citizens, and welcome back. I'm Paul, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Jason.
Howdy, listeners.
And Jeremy.
The war is over!
Joining us through the magic of Discord. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. We are here today reviewing Avengers Endgame. Although we're recording this on Sunday after it came out. Hopefully it'll go live in the next day or so, but we'll see when it goes live. We just wanted to have it out there to discuss our thoughts because I saw it. And I'll just preface this. This is a momentous event. I saw somebody on Facebook today talking about how the MCU is our generation's version of Star Wars. And we're living it live. And future generations will be like, oh, you know, like when I would talk to my parents about, because my parents were in high school when Star Wars came out. And they talk about, you know, what a big thing it was. And people hadn't seen anything like it. Like that'll be what we're like.
I'm utterly offended by the comparison.
Really?
Why? Yeah. First off, there's a this generation Star Wars already, and we had one. It wasn't everything we hoped.
We did. I know. Exactly. I think that's the point. Is that the prequels?
We're saying like it's not a rehash of Star Wars. That's
right.
The point.
It's not also.
It's the same. It's in the same sense.
I understand.
Star Wars
I understand
was.
what he meant. I just don't. I mean, you think so? You think it'll be like? You think this will survive?
Okay. Not only is it bigger than Star Wars was in the 70s, it's bigger than Star Wars is now. So the results came in today.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Sunday's not even over. This morning, Disney put out a press release saying they made $1.2 billion already.
You need to give me some scale for that. What does that mean?
So that makes that's the fastest. That's the biggest opening weekend ever. That might be. That's definitely top 5 biggest full runs ever. It's close to number 1. I remember because it was Avatar that was number 1 up until there was something before Infinity War that took number 1 from it. But then Infinity War took maybe, I don't know. But either way, Avatar was number 1 for a long time.
Yeah, and no one likes Avatar anymore.
And it made about $1.1 billion.
Yeah, but no one likes it anymore, right? Like I just don't think
exactly
to compare it to Star Wars, though. I mean,
well,
like,
the only
I'm not talking about
Avatar.
But you were comparing like the amount of money it made.
I think that's a different comparison though, because I said the only reason that Avatar isn't still talked about today is because they made one and then didn't make anymore.
When was the last time you went back and rewatched it?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There was only one of them.
It's not just because there was just.
It's not just because there's one of them.
I think so.
I went back and watched The Matrix a million times when it came out.
Exactly.
Yeah, go back and rewatch it again, Jason.
No, it's not
Tell
good.
me how it is.
It's not good. But
Avatar, it's not horrible, but it's not as good. Avatar is also a bit of an outlier because that was a movie that, even though I think like it's not a great movie and doesn't stand up with all the other movies that are in those top 5. Here's the thing: it is a movie that I maintain 100% needed to be seen in theaters. It was so good in theaters.
For sure.
And that's why it made so much money. And it didn't make as much money on. But anyway, my point was, it was the number 1 movie of all time for years and at just over $1 billion, like $1.2 billion. And that's what Avengers made in a weekend with Sunday not even being over yet.
It's a historic thing. It's a huge deal. I'm really excited about it. But my only argument is to whether it will be as iconic as Star Wars, this MCU, if they had never made the prequels, if they had never made the new J.J. Abrams sequels, then people would still dress up as Darth Vader and stormtroopers.
People were dressing up as Captain America and Iron Man before MCU started.
No, and that's comics, and that's fine. No one's going to be dressing up if they don't make another movie, right? In 40 years, do you think people will still be dressing up as this version of Hawkeye or this version of Captain America?
Well, only if they don't reboot the characters, then yes. If they do reboot the characters, then no. But I mean, that is something that Star Wars has, is that they haven't rebooted any of the characters. So you still see people dressed up as that because that's how everyone in those movies still dresses.
My point is that it would have survived to now with this popularity.
Why don't you think that MCU will survive? Why don't you?
Oh, no, I don't. I just don't think it has as much of an impact on our culture, or not as our culture, but as well, maybe it has. Maybe it has, because it's all franchises now. Everything's franchises since this started. And whenever Star Wars came out, everything became it dramatically changed how movies were made. They were a lot more action packed and
Well, look, I've had this debate before that I think Star Trek has had more cultural impact than Star Wars. And to many people's chagrin, and that didn't make nearly as much money. If you're talking about cultural impact, in terms of what the franchise means and stands for, yeah, I don't think MCU stands up to Star Wars or Star Trek or any of several other franchises that don't do nearly as well. But as a time and place and a cultural milestone, right? Mm-hmm. I think this is...
I'm probably just getting old. I think
this is different.
I'm probably just getting old. Like, I put Star Wars up on a pedestal, man.
Yes, you do.
I like it.
You're putting the Star Wars on a pedestal. You can't put the Star Wars on a pedestal.
It's the modern Shakespeare. I'm all about it, man.
Okay, and I will just say that the point I was going into is I have a strict no opening weekend theater policy. Like, I don't go to the theater much at all in general. I just don't find it to be there's lots of reasons, but ultimately at the end of the day, I don't find it to be an entertaining experience anymore. And because I remember, so I also went saw Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel this weekend first. I went and saw that yesterday. And that was one of those situations where I was like, I feel like I would be much happier watching this in my living room because my TV's great. It's not as big, but it looks good, and my sound system's better. I kept thinking yesterday and today, like the theater that we have at our local place here, the audio just sucks. It's not good at all. But this was such a momentous event that I was like, my plan was actually to see Captain Marvel this weekend and wait until next weekend when it wasn't as busy, and then go see Endgame. Mm-hmm. And then I saw Captain Marvel yesterday afternoon, and then I watched Infinity War last night. I was like, I gotta go see it because it is such an event.
Yeah,
and that it has made me break my decade-plus long-standing, policy of not going to see a big movie like this on opening weekend and part of it was vindicated because as I was sitting in the theater this morning, some dude fell asleep with an hour left in the movie and just started snoring. And was snoring.
His ass up. I didn't know who it was. Up in a heartbeat.
I didn't know who it was or where they were, but
I'd have fucking found that motherfucker.
Like when the action started going.
I know, that's what I was telling him too. Yeah. It wouldn't happen to us.
When the action started going,
I'd have found him. He would have woken up.
When the action started going, it was like you couldn't hear it, and I was like, whatever. But when it wasn't going, you just heard him like.
No, hell no.
Like, oh, hell no. Me.
That dude's waking up real quick.
Somebody woke him up a couple of times because then it would stop. And then it would come back like 15
I would
minutes
legit go get the manager if he did it like more than twice.
Oh my 100%. God, that's what I told him. I probably would have just offered him some coffee or
that must be
soda.
That must be a family thing.
I would have told him.
No. If I get him to wake up twice and he falls asleep a third time, no coffee. Get the fuck out of the movie, fat ass. Fuck
that's
you.
Not
I
nice.
hate you.
That's nice.
I know.
I don't even know if he was fat.
I'm sorry. I didn't. It was just a blatant insult. I don't think he was like.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. I wasn't literally saying it was because he was fat. It was the first.
Yeah, because you don't even know. I don't even know who it was. I don't know what he was.
Yeah, I don't
like.
either. It was
I don't mean to impugn your physical characteristics, sir. All right, but now we've talked enough about this, about what it means. Let's talk about the movie itself. Jason, give me your quick reaction.
It's fine.
It was fine.
A lot of it was really cool. There were parts that made me really sad.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't all that you hoped it could be.
Man, I've read the real source material. It's fine.
Okay.
I
am one of those people. I don't want to be one of those people. It was good. It was entertaining.
And you talk about me with Star Trek canon.
It was good. I liked it. I don't have a problem with it. I'm glad that other people think they know things about comics now. That's really good for them. That's great.
God.
I think it was good in the sense that they went a completely opposite direction of what the comics did. And still put some comic stuff in there.
And
it was still a good story.
Yeah, it was great.
Like it wasn't like they just took the comic and made it a movie.
No, I completely. It would have been hard. It would have been difficult to do that. It would have been real difficult. For sure.
But like the way that they did it by not doing that was really good.
I think they lost me when I think they kind of lost. I lost faith in them. Like it's good. It's a good movie. It feels funny ever since Tony Stark made. Ultron.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a turning point.
I know, but from then on out, because they're supposed to be Hank Pym. You're aware of that, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Ultron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that who it was supposed to be in
Hank
the
Pym was
comics?
supposed to make, and ever since then, it just felt funny.
Yeah.
But I liked.
Where is Hank Pym?
He's
is
old.
he alive?
He's old.
He was in Endgame multiple times.
Oh yeah. Well, he got.
I meant like as an adult. Like when I say adult, sorry, I meant in present day.
Yeah, he was at the end of the movie. He was there with his wife.
Yeah, he got brought back to life.
Scott and
Yeah. I knew that.
daughter.
I just meant like. Well, actually, I didn't know that. But okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So he was alive in universe because remember he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? He was helping him out there. So yeah, I will say, okay. Well, anyway, we'll save this till when we get into the details of it. My quick reactions. I thought that it was great. I thought it was an almost perfect. I thought it was an almost perfect version of what it should have been.
Oh yeah. As far as like, I'm sorry. Let me just be fair to it. As far as endings to an impossible thing to end.
Yes.
Right. Wow. Good
Yeah.
job. Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Way to land that plane, Rod.
Yeah.
I thought it tied up all the loose ends and answered all the questions and did everything that it needed to do in a way that I thought that it should have without being stupid or eye rolly or anything like that. And I thought it was just the perfect way to end it all until the very end.
I didn't like where they all showed up out of the portals and then posed like it's a comic book. I get that it's a comic book.
I had a thread
but
here. I had a thread here. Let me finish this.
Okay, great.
Because you're getting into the movie and we're going to do that.
Sure.
I thought it was perfect all the way up until the very end. And they did a thing. I'm not going to do spoilers for Star Trek Discovery because that's not why you're here. But if you watch Star Trek Discovery, go watch our reviews on that. YouTube.com Casual Notion. And subscribe, by the way. And like and comment and all that stuff. But we talked about this in the finale of or in the review of the finale of Star Trek Discovery Season 2. That they did a certain thing to a certain character that rendered their entire plan moot. They didn't need to do the thing that they needed to do because the MacGuffin was gone. And this exact same thing happened in this movie with Captain America. That whole scene at the end with Captain America ruined the ending of this movie.
Really?
It was stupid. It made no sense.
It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense.
It made no sense,
Yeah.
not within quantum physics, not within science, not within its own movie's universe. It didn't make any sense. It, in fact, deliberately slapped the rest of the movie in the face and said all that stuff we talked about earlier was bullshit and we can just change things anyway.
Necessarily true because he could have hopped back through across back to the other universe at some point. He just needs another time machine.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is the problem when you do this because there's two options when you do time travel stuff. Right?
Also, Captain America doesn't age. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I know. That was another thing that didn't make any sense. But there's two things here there's two ways that you can go when you do time travel stories. Mm-hmm. One is you do, hey, we're living in a continuous loop and you can go back and then you can change it and it ripples through time, like the butterfly effect, right? Mm-hmm. They make jokes about it in this movie, like this is the way Back to the Future worked, this is the way Star Trek worked, this is the way everything works, right? In time travel and sci-fi. Is you go back in the past, you change something, and it ripples through the future. Now, the other way you can do it, and some sci-fi has done this, but not a lot, is you just assume that there's constantly, infinitely branching timelines, right? And that when you travel through time, it's not so much that you're traveling back through your timeline as much as it is you're shifting between locations on the tree of timelines, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what this movie says that is not happening one time, but then in another time says it is happening. Because Tilda Swinton's like, oh, if you take back the time stone, then it's going to ruin my reality, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to create this other branch. And you go, oh, okay, so we do have branching timelines. This is a multiverse situation where there are branching timelines. Okay, that would seem to say, like you were saying, Captain America could have gone to this other branch, lived that life, and then come back to this one. But if it's the case that this is a multiverse of branching timelines, then them trying to restore their timeline, well, they just happen to get on the wrong branch. And who knows what this does if they try to change their timeline. And did it really change their timeline, or did they just jump themselves to another timeline where these events happen, and then original timeline
I lost you.
where Thanos wins still exists? You see what I'm saying?
No,
because the Infinity Gauntlet exists
I just
only
lost you.
within the Infinity Gauntlet only works within your multiverse or your universe. It won't work with someone else's. So that's kind of weird too. I was
Okay,
thinking about
okay.
that. But I guess that's only a comic.
That
That
is true.
So then it can't be branching timelines. So therefore, we know that Captain America then changed his timeline. And then what does that mean for everyone else? Because you got to understand what the ending says is that all the stuff we said in the beginning with you can't bring back Natasha or Natalia. Is it Natasha or Natalia? You can't bring back Natasha. You can't just go back to, because that was the whole thing. Let's just go back to before Thanos got the stones and like, let's just destroy one or hide it somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you can't do that because it can't be changed. Well, then clearly it can because Captain America changed everything. But then how did that work?
No, it just
because we see that he destroyed the shield, but now then the shield's not destroyed.
So
like, was he not at that fight?
I have a theory on that.
Hit me.
So I think that is not the Captain America that they sent back in time.
Okay, so where's
I
he?
think that is we don't know.
He's just lost in the multiverse?
He might not. He might have actually died. Maybe that's a Hydra agent.
But they wouldn't have sent him back old.
No, yeah, they wouldn't have.
No. Well, they might have because people might not. Has it ever been stated in the movies that Captain America can't age?
I mean,
Has it been stated in the movies?
Not in the movies, no.
No.
Okay, so why would they follow? Like, they might not follow that. You know what I mean?
I thought it was pretty clear that this was just laziness on their part.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
I thought. I mean, it was pretty.
It felt so much like this moment of
it felt like that too to me, but it felt so obvious that it was laziness that it might have been on purpose.
No,
is how I see it. I'm being optimistic.
There was a moment coming up on that final scene where I was sitting there and I was like, they have done everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Right? Wait, where's Thor's hammer? Where's Mjolnir?
Exactly. So that's the thing. I was like, they have done everything perfectly. And then when Cap goes up to go back through time to take stones back, and I was like, holy shit, they're going to make him stay back in time with Peggy. And I was like, it's such an obvious fan service thing that it was like, oh, that's what they're going to do. But I was like, that breaks everything.
No, it's fine. No, it's totally fine if he goes back and starts another branch with Peggy. That works totally fine as long as he doesn't come back like he did.
As long as he doesn't
come back. He doesn't show back up in the future. He doesn't get to live through their future. He just he would create a third branch with him and Peggy. Both the original yes, that's what happens.
I don't think so.
Yes, that's what we just talked about it.
No.
Tilda Swinton just said that if you go back in time, you change a thing, creates another path.
But her whole point was it ruins the timeline that you're in.
No, it only ruined that timeline because she wouldn't have Infinity Stones. It doesn't ruin it.
It only ruined it because she wouldn't have the time stone.
Okay, but what happens in that battle without Captain America? Without Captain America there with the shield, and without Mjolnir,
there's no guy
that
there.
Battle might not happen.
Yeah, that doesn't happen because there's no
but they all remember
Thanos
it.
there.
But they all remember it, and now you have a paradox.
No. He's not going to show up in the MCU, right? In that fight, he's already there. That's already happened. That's his past, right?
Yeah.
He's going back into the larger past, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then he's gonna find Peggy and say, "Let's go do a thing," and then that's a new branch. It doesn't have anything to do with the MCU. That would have worked fine, but the fact that he showed back up at the end, that doesn't make sense.
Yes.
But I said, if he had just stayed there, I'd be fine.
I still wouldn't have been fine because, again, it breaks the rules that this
It doesn't break a rule. How's it break a rule?
It does.
What rule?
The movie never actually established that there are branching timelines, except for Tilda Swinton saying her thing. But then other times they say, like, no, you can't. There are no such thing. Like, we can't undo these certain things.
That's right. I agree.
Okay. But here's what: if he had gone back and stayed and it started a new timeline, they needed to have another Cap there.
No, he was already there. He doesn't reset the future of your universe just because you go back in time and change something. That they established that early on.
Okay. And then could you're right. I could see if he never came back, I could see a point where you're right. Mm-hmm. It's just he goes back and he creates a new branch. Okay,
but him showing back up absolutely ruins it. Yeah, that was stupid. He had to have come back. He had to have jumped universes into
this one.
Yeah,
I feel like they
years
could play
which I guess he did. He had a way to get back.
He had to.
I feel like they could play it off well. I do.
Well, okay. Now let me think about it. Because this is my only problem with it. It was literally my only problem.
But he has to come back to the platform. That's the thing. He has to come back to the platform.
Yeah.
So he couldn't. He didn't just jump back.
Right. It's like he was there and he met them there.
Yeah. Like he had been living it
Like
out.
he had been living in that universe.
That doesn't make sense.
Make any sense.
No. So yeah, so it's either they can retcon that or it just looks lazy. Because that
or
really
they can
broke
play off of
everything.
it. That's
It
not the
did.
real
It
Captain
broke
America.
everything, and I was just sitting there. I was like, okay, let's
Tell me
even
if I'm wrong.
pretend. Hold
Tell me if I'm
on.
wrong.
Let me finish.
Hold on, I haven't got to say much. Let me just say this real quick. If it isn't the real Captain America, the one from that movie, would it break anything? If they turn out they make it where that's a different Captain America from a different universe,
Yeah, that's fine. That works fine. That works
Yeah,
fine.
it works fine.
All right, that's all I want. All right.
It works fine, but I'll be honest, I still wouldn't like it.
Well, if
It wouldn't be like it wouldn't be logic breaking the way it is now, and it wouldn't be like entire plot line breaking. But it felt so obvious I didn't need it.
But it could say if it was from another universe, it could set us up for Time Runs Out, which is where we're headed,
Yeah.
by the way.
And
That's
you know
what I'm
you know
saying.
what's so
Yeah.
stupid about it, because it's a slap in the face. Well, okay, maybe they're setting up for a different comic, and that's a different thing. We can talk about that later. But it's a slap in the face to what the point of the movie was supposed to be, which is that there are some things that you just can't change, right? Like Captain America himself. He has a point in the movie where he's sitting in that support group, which I thought was fantastic. It kind of reminded me of the Leftovers situation. If you never saw the Leftovers on HBO, go watch it because it is fantastic. Oh my God, Jason, we should do Leftovers in review. Oh, anyway, he's in the restroom now. I just thought of it. That show's so good. Anyway, but he has that point where he says, hey, I was a soldier in 1940s and I crash landed and I woke up 70 years later, and you just got to keep moving on, right? You just got to keep living your life.
And I see that,
Because,
but also
hold on. Because all throughout the movie, like they're making a very conscious decision in this movie to be like, no, these losses count, right? It's not when you got to the Infinity War to the end of Infinity War, and everybody, all the people that turned to dust. You knew they were coming back, not only because of it wasn't the last Avengers movie, but just because we knew there was another Spider-Man movie. We know there's a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, right?
Well, hold on. I have to pause real quick because I can't. If I don't address the point now, we won't get to it. So with the Captain America thing, when he did the meeting, like the AA meeting essentially, but for like loss, you know what I mean? But he went back to Natasha Romanoff
Support group.
and he talked to her. He was like, "Hey, I guess we never change." And like it turns out in the end that neither of them did. And I think that kind of says something, Neither of them changed. They both did what they said they were meant to do, like thought they were meant to do, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but
You know what I mean?
yes, but Natasha's was about death being part of life. That yes, on this scale was atrocious. But all the individual losses like Loki didn't come back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he died. Yeah.
Right. Natasha's not going to come back. All these characters that we knew, like it was supposed to be like this means something, and death is a part of the overall journey. You're gonna sacrifice something sometimes, and at the end, Captain America didn't do that. He had his cake and ate it too. He fixed everything in his timeline, lived that entire life, beat Thanos, corrected everything there, and then went and lived another fantasy life. When who knows what happened in that universe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe Thanos comes and ruins that universe in the
No,
future.
he's dead. He just has to go back to when Thanos leaves.
No. He's dead in the universe that was during Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm saying the Thanos that exists in that branch.
So they went to like 4 different universes. That's the thing. That was another thing that didn't make sense about the.
Yeah, that's true.
They went to 4 different universes.
That's true. That's true. As long, that's
Thanos is only gone in one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So I, from a plot perspective, yes, it was lazy from a presentation perspective, and it breaks things the way it is. But even if you take that away, it just felt like it felt like when Data dies in Nemesis, just like a fan service kind of thing. And then you get the last scene with B4.
Yeah,
it was just fan service. It's like I don't need it.
Yeah,
you were doing such a good job, and including my prediction going into this was that all of the classic Avengers would have to sacrifice themselves to bring back everyone else, right? And that's how we were going to deal with this. And they didn't do that. And I was like, oh, thank God. Like they came up with something new and creative, and it surprised me consistently.
it's going to be weird without Tony
And that
Stark.
made the 3 hours go by fast. And then with Cap, they just did the bargain basement, most obvious thing they could. and in a way that breaks everything. And I was like, why did you have to do it?
I don't think
We assume breaks everything.
I don't think a larger
Yeah.
Marvel universe can be interesting without Captain America and Iron Man. I'll say it.
Yeah, it's gonna be
You need,
interesting.
especially, you definitely need Iron Man. Like, without Tony Stark as a character, with
Yeah.
him, like, because he meddles. That's the thing about Tony Stark, is he always thinks he knows better than anybody else. He always assists in some horrible thing.
Yeah.
And
Well, Captain Marvel is going to take that spot, I assume.
that's true. Captain Marvel can do it. That's true.
She does it,
But she's not.
Civil War 2 is about.
But she does it
That's what
from
Civil War 2 is, literally.
I understand. She's like, but she's about like perpetuating a system. Tony Stark is about, like, as he said, building a suit of armor around the world. Like, he thinks way ahead of whatever Captain Marvel, like Carol Danvers does. They both end up on the same side of things a lot, but Tony has an agenda to Elon Musk the world. That's the thing, right?
That's why I don't like him.
Yeah, but he makes for really good conflicts in the Marvel stories. So
Does.
Yeah.
I worry about what they're gonna do now. Hey, as Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't like that they called it that, but because there's a new title, there's a new run out, I think right now, I'm pretty sure, called As Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's got Angela in it, and
Who?
she's a Valkyrie from wherever, Valhalla. So
where all
it's
the Valkyries
nothing
come
to
from?
do. It doesn't look like it has anything to do with that title, but since it's new, they referenced it.
It's a
Yeah,
year
it's probably
old.
just a nod.
If they come out with the next movie is called As Guardians of the Galaxy,
No, I think they've already said it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I bet it.
Which clearly is going to be them trying to find Gamora, because who knows what happened to her.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so let's start digging into the meat of the story a little bit. Gamora, like, what happened to her? She kicked Quill in the balls,
She left.
and then she helped during the ride of the women superheroes.
Yep.
But then she was just gone. She wasn't at the funeral at the end. She wasn't on the ship at the end. Where did she go? And they made a very deliberate reference to him searching for her, because he's got it on his computer screen and it's got a picture of her and it says searching, right? And like, you couldn't make it more obvious what he's doing.
Yeah.
So clearly they don't know where she is. So I'm assuming that's what Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to be about, trying to find Gamora. But it's just like, what happened to her?
Hey, I'm excited for Adam Warlock. That'll be cool.
Who?
Wait, that's coming out?
I mean, it was the end of last Guardians of the Galaxy.
Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Black Adam?
No. That's DC.
Okay, that's right.
Adam Warlock was supposed to be. He's in Infinity War. He's
Yeah,
a
in the original. Yep.
huge character in Infinity War.
Yep. Also, I know why you can't bring Natasha back. I bet it's just they're going to find out that the Soul Stone is its own universe. But then again,
Yeah.
that's a whole thing. It's called like the Soul World or something stupid. But
Oh.
anywho, that's a whole thing. I don't know if they're going to get into it, but
I will say that was a scene where I was like, I saw it coming from a mile away. Like, as soon as like, oh, we're gonna go here, and I was like, oh, and it's Natasha and Hawkeye
that would make
going
sense.
to get the Soul Stone.
It would
Well, we know what's gonna happen now.
it would make functional sense for them to not be able to bring people back to life. If you, like, when you died in payment, like, you just go to the Soul Stone's little miniature universe, like in Men in Black.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened. I don't know how you get there in the DC in the comics. I can't really remember how you get into it or whatever, but it would make sense that you couldn't bring them back to life because they were alive in the Soul Stone. That'd be clever.
I mean, I'm betting that she's just dead because she didn't want to do any.
And God
MCU
says no
movies.
resurrections.
I'm betting just Scarlett Johansson was like, I don't want to do any more MCU movies, because Chris Evans said the same thing, and Robert Downey Jr. I think said the same thing. They're like, hey, we've. They're the older characters, not just the older characters in the movies, but like older actors,
Yeah.
So it makes sense. There's like, we've had our run. I mean, they've done what? Well, there's 22 total movies now.
Oh my God.
And then, and those characters have been in at least a dozen of those.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot. It's been a lot for the last decade of our lives.
Good job, boys.
Yeah. All right. Thor. Let's talk about Thor.
I loved it.
I love Dad Bod Thor.
Yeah.
It was great.
Dad bod Thor.
It was great. It's like, as soon as we saw him, I was like, oh, it's so good.
Well, I'm glad we got to see the buddy from
From Ragnarok.
yeah.
Yeah. He's so funny. He's so funny. He's in there when he was like playing video games.
Yeah.
And what was it? It was Noob Master 69.
Thank you. I will.
He was like,
Tell me if he bothers you again. Thank you. I will.
Thank you. So it was so great. What did you think, Jeremy?
I loved it.
You love Thor?
Mm-hmm.
Dad bod Thor?
I got kind
Still
of
turn me on. Still turn
That's
me
what
on.
I want.
I got kind of teary when he talked to his mom. I didn't even care
Yeah.
about that at all.
Yeah.
I didn't care about that when he said, "Oh, yeah, my mom's here." I was like, I don't care. And I
Yeah,
was like,
but then when you talk to her,
"Oh."
And then when he
Oh.
talked to her, it was so much
It
better.
was so good. Natalie Portman came back for one scene with no dialogue.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
Well,
think
it was
that I-
totally her choice.
And I bet that was footage from.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
I bet it was footage for something else or it
From
was
2.
CG or something.
No, I bet it was footage from 2. From
it didn't look like
Thor
it.
2.
It didn't look like a scene I remember from Thor 2.
Yeah,
But either
exactly.
way.
No, so exactly. I think there's just a scene they had filmed where she had woken up and gotten out of bed because it's all we saw, and they
Yeah.
just put Rocket in it.
Yeah.
I bet.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I bet that's what.
That's
they
probably what it is. And Rocket CG.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably.
Wait, Rocket CG?
Oh no.
What?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way.
Let's see. Tony Stark's character arc, I thought was really good. I enjoyed seeing him with a kid living in the
Yeah.
future,
For sure.
because it was like a little bit of like
At least one person got out good.
got out good and like he found his peace, you know. And I understand it was also a MacGuffin for the story. Like that's what creates the armor. You know, he's like, hey, we have to bring him back without changing.
Yeah.
The last 5 years, and so that was a convenient way to bring that about.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was a really nice moment to be able to see Tony Stark because I haven't liked Tony Stark since the Iron Man movies, and I didn't like Iron Man 3. So, but I just felt like, I don't know, he got more and more douchey and kind of
As he does.
yeah,
As he does.
I just didn't like his character as much for several reasons.
Yeah.
And comparisons to Elon Musk didn't help because I don't like Elon Musk. So
I'll be honest. I knew for a fact that Tony was going to have to be willing to kill himself to win.
Yeah.
And in the first moment I knew it for sure, 100%, was when he was talking to his dad, and his dad said, "Sometimes I put the greater good before my own self-interest before the greater good." That was where I knew it. That was the moment.
Well, yeah. Well, and that was a nice scene.
And she told
seeing
him, like,
back
I
with
did
his
like
dad.
that. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that got me tear jerked.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
There were a lot of moments, and not nearly as many deaths as I thought there would be.
Yeah, they didn't Game of Thrones it at all.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, really, only Natasha and Tony, right?
Rip Theon.
Rip Theon.
Yeah, rest in peace, Theon. He won't be in episode 4.
Oh,
No, I
you're
think
on
he
Game of Thrones now. Yeah. So watch our Game of Thrones review tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by the time you're watching this,
Like and
they'll all
subscribe.
be
Yeah,
dead.
actually, it's probably already out because we did
Yeah,
that live.
they're all dead. Isn't it crazy?
Isn't it crazy? Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Any other major characters?
We got to see what was her name? The Valkyrie.
Oh yeah.
What was her name?
Shit, if I
not
remember.
Angela,
Tessa
is it?
Thompson.
Is it Angela?
Maybe.
Surely
I don't
not.
know. I don't remember.
Okay.
Tessa
wasn't
Thompson's
that
who plays her. Yeah, Captain Marvel coming in, being badass.
I like it.
So I get the feeling though they're making her like, well, I don't know how to say that. I guess I was
I feel like
worried.
she is definitely going to be the new Tony Stark because I get the
Yeah.
same vibe from her. Like she's funny, but then she's also kind of a douchebag.
Well, have you
Right.
have you seen Captain Marvel?
I actually haven't. No.
Okay, so you guys haven't seen Captain Marvel. I went and saw Captain Marvel yesterday,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's hilarious. I don't want to make this Captain Marvel review, but you remember when the first trailer came out, and all these fucking broke boy incels were like, "Hey, she should smile more in this trailer," and they were like literally photoshopping clips.
No, I don't remember that.
It's awful. It was awful.
Yeah.
Jesus.
They were photoshopping and deep faking clips of the trailer to have her smiling in it.
Ah!
It was so stupid. It was so stupid.
That's so mean. It's a
It was
sick
so
burn, though. That's mean as
How is
shit.
it a sick burn?
It's mean.
Oh,
It's fucking mean. What do you mean? How's it
Oh,
a
to
sick burn? It's
Photoshop
mean
her?
as shit. It's a mean thing to say. It's a mean
no.
thing to do.
It just
funny
shows,
though.
It just shows how insecure they all are because
Yes.
like she's joking, like she jokes and laughs throughout the whole goddamn movie. She really.
Yeah.
I do think you're right. If you see Captain Marvel, you're like, all right. I think they are setting her up to be the next Tony Stark.
Yeah.
She's got that same kind of cocky attitude. She was a pilot, so she's got that same kind of like.
Yeah. The first thing she basically says when
Cosmo
you see her
shit.
in Endgame is, "I'm gonna go kill Thanos.
Yeah.
See you later, guys."
Yeah. But
I'm gonna go kill the guy that just killed half the universe. Be right back.
right. But this also brings up an issue that I had that I thought throughout the whole movie. I was like, they're making her too strong. Like she's becoming the Marvel version of Superman.
No, that's right.
Which is like nobody can beat her.
She can't beat Thor.
But like this is why Superman movies suck.
She can't beat Thor.
Okay, well Thor never seems that.
I claim it
that
too.
hardcore.
Yeah, he's pretty top tier. I claim that Thor can beat Captain Marvel. Even it would be strange.
You think we'll get that fight? I mean, we got Thor and Iron Man.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Hulk beats her. So
yeah, but nobody can beat Hulk.
nobody
right?
can beat Hulk. So
But now Hulk's arms
now,
is like...
now Professor Hulk is different. That's what he is in this movie.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's not quite. But I'm talking about proper angry Hulk. Because the thing about angry Hulk is he just keeps getting angrier, and his power level just keeps increasing.
Yeah,
he'll be as strong as he needs to be to beat you.
Now he's found Goose Fraba.
Yeah, I don't know if that works. I think she can beat him.
I don't know that Mark Ruffalo is going to be in a lot of movies going forward either. I mean, he never got his own movie anyway.
Well, you can get She-Hulk and get Red Hulk.
Yeah. What did you think of Hulk, Professor Hulk?
I liked it.
I liked
it.
it.
was nice.
Yeah.
I like Mark.
I loved when he started. They were like, maybe smash some things on the way, and he's like, ugh.
Yeah. And he like picks up the motorcycle. He's like, and he just kind of tosses it. He's like, do I really have to do this? I was like, I like this. I like that Bruce has come into some zen. Then he loses Natasha. All right, let's talk about the Natasha thing here. Oh, actually, I'll say real quick about the Bruce Banner thing. Him holding the gauntlet was like, that was part of that. Oh, that how convenient, right? Like it's because it puts gamma radiation, and that's what turns them into the.
Was I the only one that thought that I'm mostly talking to Jason. I thought Captain America.
Yeah, because of Hickman, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was for sure he was going to do it.
We'll come back to Captain America because that moment where he picks up Mjolnir was great. But
oh yeah.
But anyway, we'll come back to that. That'll be next. I want to talk about Natasha real quick because on the one hand, they killed her off and like it was a touching moment and all that stuff. But on the other hand, I was like, it just reminded me how disappointing her character was in these movies because she started off strong. She started off with kind of an interesting, mysterious backstory in Avengers and all that stuff. And then I thought she was an interesting character in Winter Soldier. And then after Winter Soldier, her character just went nowhere for every single movie after that. Like she just totally faded in the background.
I can't
Well, yeah,
remember
you
the last
can't.
time
I mean, not every character can. There's so many characters, though. You know, not all of them can have an arc every movie. You know?
I know, I got it, and I totally. But here's the thing: I totally expect that from a Hawkeye who was not a big thing. You know, he wasn't in any other movies except the Avengers one and Civil War, obviously. And then I expect it from what's her name, the Valkyrie. I expect that Nebula. But I felt like even Nebula had more of an arc in this movie than Natasha did over the last three movies.
Not every character needs to.
I would say Nebula only had one because she was a very major player in this movie because of Infinity War. Her father was the antagonist.
I don't know what more I would have done with her.
I think that I don't either, and I think that was the problem. I think the writers couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with her.
She's a part of it, but she's. I mean,
but you get what I'm saying. Like, yes, I get that you can't cover every single character. Great. And other the ones like Peter Parker doesn't get any time in Infinity War and he gets some time, but like not a lot. And you don't explore his character, but he has his own movies, right? Yeah. And then the characters that don't have their own movies, they're just side characters, even in Avengers.
Yes,
she's the only one. She's like a main character in Avengers and Captain America. Didn't get her own movies, and then has almost no story in the last back half of this. Avengers story.
That is her though. That is Black Widow.
I know that sucks. I would have liked, but ScarJo is so much better. It would have been great to have seen them do
love
something.
ScarJo as Black Widow, but that's Black Widow. Black Widow isn't.
But it could have been. It could have been.
I'm not interested. I mean,
Captain Marvel is not what she is in the comics, right? No. I mean, like none of these characters. There's no Reed Richards. Hank Pym isn't what he was in the comics.
I don't know what I would have wanted to do with her.
I don't either, but that's not my responsibility. I didn't write the Avengers. They have talented writers that get paid a lot of money,
I guess.
And they start paying me, I'll figure out what to do with her.
Yeah, exactly. If I was just sit down and write a story about her, I could figure out a story for her.
Yeah, I have no problem with what they did
something
with her.
that covered more about her and Hawkeye that made me care more during that scene when they were getting the Soul Stone.
To be fair, I was cool with it because I just wanted them to get the Soul Stone and be done with it.
I know, but it just reminded me that her whole storyline is like, it just reminded me of how strong her character started. And I mentioned this when we talked about Secret Invasion. Go watch our noob review of the Marvel Secret Invasion comic. I mentioned this in there that because she also was kind of off on the side in that comic, which is like your point, right? But I mentioned then it was disappointing that she didn't have a great story throughout the MCU, those last half of the MCU, and this just reminded me of it. So that scene when she died, it was sad, but it was like it didn't have the weight that it should have. I feel like for her to be a main character. So certainly didn't have the weight that like when Tony Stark died.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
I
but
just-
nothing.
I felt even
the only
more...
other way that would have been as bad is if it was Captain America,
or if she had been the protagonist.
Well, no, but I felt even more like it should have at least had the emotional weight that I felt when Loki died in Infinity War, and it didn't, because I was like, you just ignored her, and then through this movie, she went from like hopeful to like depressed like crazy to then like kind of hopeful again to then just dead, and it was, I don't know what you're doing with her story.
I was fine with it. I don't see it, man.
There's so much there that like it was a minor issue, but it just reminded me just of the overall MCU. I would have loved a Black Widow movie. Tell me what happened with her and Hawkeye in this universe, not comic universe, because they're not the same, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, we're expected to understand they have this relationship, and I guess you read the comics, there's a lot more there. But if this isn't the same universe, I don't know what their relationship was necessarily before the MCU started.
Yep.
I
don't know either, and I do not care.
I know, but I do care because that just
I know,
was nice.
yeah, no,
and
that's
it's like
fine.
in 22 movies, you couldn't fit it in. Come on,
I'll see your
take one of the Thor movies out and give me a Black Widow movie.
I'll see your Black Widow concerns and raise you. I could have used more Drax jokes.
Yes, yes. Drag was almost a non-existent.
You know who's in this movie more than Drax?
Raccoon.
No,
Rocket Raccoon?
the lady with the antennae. What's her name?
I don't know.
Oh, I lost her name.
Rocket
Mantis.
literally calls
Mantis.
her
Mantis.
Rocket literally calls her the antenna lady.
Yeah, she had like 3 or 4 lines, and Drax, like at one point we hear him yell while stabbing someone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which was worth it.
Also,
I was okay with that.
he didn't do anything to Thanos.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
He didn't get any of his.
he didn't get
vengeance.
any of that. And that's the thing, is he's supposed to kill Thanos.
Oh, is that how it happens in the
I mean,
comics?
that's what he's. Yeah,
He's just too small of a character.
I feel like
in the
he's like
MCU.
designed like genetically or something to kill Thanos.
Oh,
I think it's something like that.
well, that's not what his plot line of this.
I know.
Because remember, he talks about like Thanos killed his wife and kids, so he was born way before that.
Mm-hmm. He actually has a daughter in the comics. Her name's
Yeah.
Moondragon. Moondragon, Jeremy. Bald chick. Bald chick. Space ball chick. With her cape.
Space
Was
bullshit.
Quasar briefly.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's deep. It's pretty heavy cosmic Marvel. But yeah. Anywho, I could use more Drax. I like Drax.
Yeah, he was designed to kill Thanos by the
Ant-Man.
Mentor and the Titan God Kronos.
That's right.
We gotta talk about Ant-Man. Ant-Man was
Great.
Was great in this
Great.
movie.
Well, it's Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's great.
It's Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd.
He brings such good comedic.
He should have been Black Widow.
I would say yes, only because now that I'm starting to read the comics and you see how big of a character Hank Pym is,
Yeah.
it would have been so much better having a Hank Pym in these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And
That-
it would have been great having a Reed Richards too, but like that's a whole thing with Fox and owning, which doesn't matter going forward because now Disney owns Fox. But anyway, man, it would have been nice to have had a Hank Pym.
Mm-hmm.
Although I thought Michael Douglas, like here's the thing: if you're gonna make Hank Pym older, but like you still made him alive, and you have Michael Douglas, like you could have done so many good things with that,
Yeah.
I was hoping that's what was going to happen. Like I guess I don't really remember Ant-Man and the Wasp that much. I forgot them disappearing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a while since I've seen it. My memory's awful, but I think I didn't realize that Hank Pym disappeared in the snap, and so for like the first 30 minutes of the movie, I was like, oh, get Hank Pym, because now I've been reading the comics. I'm like, get Hank Pym. He can help you fix this. He can help you get this time machine going. And then it was like, oh no, he disappeared. I was like, oh, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we only get to see the 70s CG version of him, and then you get to see him at the end at the funeral, and that's it. That was disappointing. So yeah, the stuff you talked
Also,
about.
why is it that you need? I don't feel like he needed Hank Pym to make more Pym particles. I don't like that.
No, only Hank Pym knows how. Well, Reed Richards claims to know how, but we haven't seen him.
Yeah,
do
but
it.
like, I'm sure he has the machinations. I don't know how to say it. To do it in his lab, right? And like the notes on how to do it in his lab.
I don't think he may. He may not.
I guess he didn't.
In the same way that in Marvel Comics that Spider-Man's identity is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, he just doesn't share it.
Mm-hmm.
Hank Pym doesn't share how to make Pym particles. I'm pretty sure that's the case. It's a closely guarded secret.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think probably the concession here too was that his lab was destroyed at some point, right? Didn't they shrink it down at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Mm-hmm.
And then it must be shrunk down somewhere next to that van or inside the van, so nobody knew where it was or how to get to it. Because obviously that van was sitting there for 5 years and nobody knew it was there.
God, what if he's like a psycho sadist?
Who?
Hank Pym, and he just he has women chained up in his house that he just shrinks and he carries around, and you never know.
Jesus Christ, this got dark.
There's no way to tell because he shrinks the house.
I'm betting that's not going to be a plot line in the
shrinks
MCU
the
going
house.
forward in Phase 4.
Think all the miniature tortured souls.
Phase 5.
Sheesh.
That was dark. Anyway, all right, and then we'll wrap up with Cap. I already gave my whole spiel. We've already talked about the end of it, but
you know what?
That moment when he picks up Mjolnir.
It was great, and I think that happens in the comics too.
It does.
It does. Okay, yeah. Okay, I just want to say something about Cap. Remember when Cap's fighting Cap? Cap be Cap.
Yep.
And he says, "I can do this all day," and he goes, "I know." And it's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
he said that earlier.
Well, he says it in the Captain America movie. He says it in Civil War when he's fighting Tony, and then this. Now here's the thing. I could have used him saying that with Thanos instead of them making light of it here. I could have used a third time where he really wasn't going to get up.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like I could do this all day. I don't know why that needed to be played for laughs. They could have played that a bit more thematically. They wasted it. And there was even a moment where I said, "Oh, he's going to say it right here," and he doesn't.
Yeah,
because Thanos when he's breaking the shield, he's breaking his shield.
Yes,
and he's like, "What say you?" He could have said, "What say you now, Captain?"
Yeah,
right? And he would say, "I could do this all day." That would have been great, and it wouldn't have seemed cheap or anything.
I know,
but. And they wasted on that fucking joke.
It would have been a thematic call. Well, you could have even still wasted it in that joke because I thought it was a funny thing. But then you could have had it at the end again, and it would have been an interesting juxtaposition between like him saying it just like casually saying it and him saying like, no, this time like he's for real. He's like, I mean it. I'm going to do this until I die.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And it would have pulled so much more weight to it. They absolutely
Well, he always means that when he says it. It's always in those moments, right? Remember, he's first time
I don't know.
he says
I felt like when he was doing it to the other Cap, to Canon Cap. I don't know. What are we
Oh, yeah, that was shit.
I felt like he was just saying it.
No,
like
for sure. Okay, I see what you mean now. Yes, I completely agree with that. Yeah, he did. It was all of that was awful. I was a real miss.
Yeah, I didn't need the Cap.
For what?
Cap.
For what? For Cap to be funny? I don't need Cap to be funny. Spider-Man's funny. Don't be funny, Cap. Period.
But to be fair, it was America's ass.
It was America's ass. That was good. That would have been a great. You already had a funny thing. We need two funny things in that scene.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And from Captain America, no less.
Yeah, Captain America's not funny. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be funny.
So yeah, and so I'll say
he's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I will say this. It's been a problem of mine for a while. Like the humor of MCU is obviously a thing, and in a lot of movies it really works. I obviously during the Galaxy or Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Ant-Man.
Yeah, like that whole Thor scene at the end. Yeah, that was hilarious. We all know who the captain is.
Yeah,
that was great.
But that was a very great Guardians of the Galaxy scene, and that was fine as like a closing. We're returning. Here's the status quo that we're returning to. Right, I'm fine with that. But I do feel like there was more comedy than I would have liked in this movie, just because it was such a heavy moment, and it's a conclusion to a thing. I would have liked to have seen him take it just a little more seriously. It's like,
man, I don't know. There was like hour-long serious scenes. I feel like without the comic relief, like the whole last scene, like it was probably 30 minutes of like sadness from Tony Stark. Like Tony Stark's death was like 30 minutes long in the sense like his funeral, everything. Yeah. And you didn't get a funny moment in that. Not at all.
I know, but I would have liked to have seen him play it even more. It's like, okay, we watch Barry. Jason and I, we watch Barry, which is a dark comedy on HBO. You should totally watch it. To be fair, it's a dark comedy, but it is a comedy, and it's hilarious and it's great. But you remember I told you before we started watching it, I was like, the second to last episode of season 1 is like mind-boggling and game-changing, right? And you remember what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
The second to last episode of season 1, with him and the friend and the SUV.
Oh yeah.
And that whole episode is very dramatic and dark, and it's the penultimate episode of the season.
Yep.
And so it's building to a lot of things. And so they cut the jokes in that episode way back. There wasn't nearly as much comedy as there are in most episodes. Even in the finale, there was more comedy. And that's what I would have liked to have seen with this, is just to take it a little more seriously and be like, we're going to cut the humor down to just the bare minimum.
And because they culminated with that super fucking cheesy scene with the portals at the end. Or
I loved it.
I
loved it.
liked it.
I didn't need
It felt great.
I didn't need them to say something
That
and pose after
so
each person.
good.
They
completely
I didn't
vehemently
need the
disagree.
pose thing.
Yeah,
That's
they
true.
should have just
I
ran
think
out
you're-
and attacked. They should have ran out of there and just gone for it. I didn't need them to
Nope.
all pose. And here's the
Okay,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, no, but here's what I will say. The scene where the part where Black Panther does the thing, he Bombay. I was like, oh, that's so good.
That's always great. Yes, but then they cut the Guardians of the Galaxy come out and they pose.
Yeah,
Everybody
I did do
all
that.
the groups come out and pose.
All these dead
But I
people
didn't
just
hate
came back. I loved it. They hadn't had a single cameo in the entire movie, and you just
Yeah.
want them to run out just looking at them fly away? No, fuck
No,
that.
no,
I will say I get what you're
Could have
saying.
zoomed in on them with violence happening. I just the actual comic booky pose,
Yeah.
right? Because
I
they started
loved it. I loved
they
it.
started
But
this series with the understanding that they were going to do Iron Man, but not super cheesy, like it was going to be like realistic, right?
Yeah.
It was coming off
Yeah,
the
and then
Batman
the last
Begins and
movie
stuff.
of
It was
the 22 movies, they decided to make one cheesy pose, and you're mad. Fuck you.
And here's the thing.
it depends on the cheesy pose is.
Okay, here's the thing. I normally would be 100% with you. I hate the cheesiness. And as I've said multiple times on this channel, I hate the 2012 Avengers movie. It's stupid, and I will not be budged on that. Although I'm slightly budged now seeing the conclusion. But I still hate it. And they do those kinds of poses at the end. Like that whole scene where the camera rotates around them and they're all like, "Arr!" Like getting ready to fight. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, sure.
It's so
Probably
like
the worst part of the fight. I agree.
Yeah, well, they've always done this, but to me in this movie it felt earned because everybody was coming together right at the end, and it was like it was the moment, right? It was the moment of Gandalf coming over the mountain.
It crossed my mind.
and the light shining behind
Yeah,
him.
that
It's
crossed my
goofy
mind, yeah.
as hell, but you're like, shit's about to go down. I'm
Don't-
ready for this.
Right.
Don't say that about Gandalf. Gandalf wasn't goofy.
Okay, this wasn't goofy either.
Theoden King
I
stands
don't think this is
alone.
goofy either. I normally think this stuff is goofy. I thought the Gandalf thing was goofy even when I saw it back
Really?
then. Yeah, I still think it's goofy.
Wow.
This one, I
Who
get
hurt
your
you?
point.
Who hurt you?
I don't know, but I've been hurt deeply, and so I would normally agree with you, but this one felt so earned. And that last scene, or that shot where they're flying, they're all running towards each other, and then you have like the flyers flying above them. I was like, this looks literally. This is like a page out of Civil War.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why I love
Yeah.
it. That's exactly
It
what I
was
told Jason.
so
I said,
good.
Jason, it looks like you're reading the comic for a second.
It was really good. It was a really nice callback.
I was like, you wouldn't even have to tell me that this was a comic book movie. And
Yeah.
if I'd never seen a comic book, like knew these were the characters from
Yeah.
a comic book, I'd know that this was like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
so
was
I
so
disagree.
beautiful.
I thought that was great, and it just felt like such
like
a
the fight.
triumphant.
I like to fight.
It just felt like okay. But here's the thing, and here's where we're gonna wrap up.
Hit me.
The issue of Tony's snap. Okay. So he snaps and everything, all of Thanos' army disappears. Thanos disappears. All right, great. Here's the thing. On the one hand, I love it because to see Thanos, I hated Thanos. I was not one of these like, oh, Thanos was right. Fucking give me wrong. And this movie proved me right. And actually, we'll finish up talking about his plan and why it was so stupid. But in this movie, he dies, and to see him die by his own dust cloud was great. I was like, this is the perfect poetic justice way for him to go. Okay, great. Here's the problem. We know people can be brought back when they turn into dust.
Oh, if anyone can be brought back from death, it's Thanos.
It's
I know,
Thanos.
right? So it's like, why didn't you just fucking cut his head off again? Because like he's just gonna come back. They're
it
going to
doesn't-
bring him back to fight the new Avengers or the young
doesn't
Avengers.
matter
or
how
whatever
you
they're
kill
gonna
him. It doesn't even matter if you destroy the universe he's in. He's come back from that.
To be fair,
Oh,
Paul,
okay.
they did cut his head off in that universe.
Yeah, you can't kill Thanos. He's
No,
not dead.
they-
Oh no, that's a good point.
The Thanos of that universe did
It
get his
did
head
get his
cut
head
off.
cut off.
Yeah, for sure,
It
for
was
sure.
the Thanos of the other universe
Yeah,
that
And
disappeared.
there's no more Infinity Stones there. Yeah.
No, Thanos
Well,
always comes
no,
back.
because remember, Cap returned all the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, there's none there. They're not in that universe.
So now here's something. The only thing you can do now in this universe to be interesting, this is how movies work. As far as I can tell, they've been building to something. If you're going to build to something else, it has to be Cosmic Marvel. We're going to have to do Celestials. We're going to have to do. We're going to need Fantastic Four. We're going to need the Null universe. We're going to need
Negative Zone.
That's sorry, Negative Zone. Yeah, sorry.
See, I hope they don't.
Oh, it's so neat though.
I hope
It's so neat.
I hope that they take this opportunity to sit back and be like, we're gonna pull a comic book, which is we're gonna start a new series. We're gonna start Young Avengers or something now.
Young Avengers.
Or, I don't know, something.
New Avengers.
New Avengers,
Yeah.
Young Avengers, Dark Avengers, whatever they want to do next. Right? Like we're going in a different direction.
But it's got to be
New characters.
It's going to have to be bigger. If you're going to be bigger than this,
I don't know.
it's going to have to go cosmic.
That will, unless they do a reboot.
Yeah.
Which is what time they do a cosmic scale. Time runs out, and then they do a reboot.
But if they do,
Their only real option. It really is.
but
yeah, cosmic scale times runs out. That's where we go. I hope it's where we go.
But if they do, yeah, I don't think it'll be as big as this one was. It feels like Endgame is such a conclusion that people are ready to be like, this is a conclusion. We're good with this.
So-
I'm almost wondering if Spider-Man Far
Can
From
I-
Home is going to do very
Can
well.
I share with you the conceit of time runs out, which what me and Jeremy, what we think they should do next?
Okay.
What's happened in it is, so the smartest people in the world, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Hank Pym, not Hank Pym, well, eventually Hank Pym, the Black Panther, T'Challa, and Doctor Strange and Professor Xavier.
Yep.
So they're the Illuminati, and they find out that the multiverse is ending. And what's happening is that universes are colliding in on each other. And what happens is that they're colliding on each other's Earths. So another Earth will end up in the sky. And if they touch each other, both universes are destroyed. But if you destroy the other person's Earth, your universe will be fine. So what happens is they're like, we're not going to destroy a whole planet full of people, and it gets closer and closer to time, and they sneak away with it. They don't have to kill. They get out of it a few times, but eventually push comes to shove, someone's going to have to do. Oh, also Namor's in it, but
It's the Dark Knight. Gotcha.
yeah. So
The Dark Knight.
oh yeah, but just over and over and over until the universe ends,
Right.
And starts to happen faster and faster, and it's awesome, and that's bigger.
Yeah.
And we should do that.
Yeah, I don't think so. So the Feige has said that they've got.
But they've set up for it so well. You could see it.
I know, but
They
Chris
set the
Evans,
multiverse up.
They started the multiverse.
I know,
theory.
but
They
Tony
started it.
Stark is gone. Chris Evans said he's not coming
You
back.
don't need them.
Yeah, you don't need that. We didn't need them.
You don't need
Mark
either
Ruffalo.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way,
Like you kind of need Tony Stark, but they could do without him.
You did
And
Civil War
Captain
with
America-
Hulk.
huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Or
mean-
not with Hulk. Sorry. He was gone.
Captain
Yeah, he was in
America is
space.
old.
Sorry.
Thor.
And
Thor.
Time runs out.
Yeah, and I mean,
It turns
yes,
out
they
golden.
can make any of this work. And of course, now keep in mind they do have access to Reed Richards, right? Because they own Fox now, so
Please don't
they
fuck
own
it up.
Fantastic Four.
Please don't fuck it up.
They have access to X-Men as well. They could bring those guys in. So yeah, they could. I hope they don't. Anyway, Feige has said they've got 20 movies planned, and they're in a totally different style than what they've done in the last 20. So
We'll see.
I would love to see it just
Once
end. I'm one of those people that would like to see them be like, hey, you know what? We went out with the biggest movie of all time. Let's just end it. Let's just move on.
Maybe.
Like
Fuck
go out
no.
where you're on top,
Uh-uh.
because instead they're gonna drag it into the ground, and people aren't gonna go watch, New Avengers
They might.
number 3, and then it's gonna slowly wither away.
Yeah, they
This
could
is
do-
why reboots are so important because
Ooh,
it's not you're not continuing it anymore.
They
'Cause
could-
it's just like
They could bring.
we're just gonna start over, and if you like this, it's cool. If not, we'll reboot again.
Let's all join the real reboot, which is to see Thor and the Valkyrie in Men in Black universe.
Yes, that's true.
International, sorry, Men in Black International.
They could have the X-Men happen, and then they'd have to do it the ultimate way probably.
Yeah.
But they could and then do House of M, Jeremy.
That's what I was saying. I would
That'd
love
be great.
that.
That'd be great because Miss Marvel's big in it, and Scarlet Witch. We have Scarlet Witch already.
Yeah.
And they set her up with it for how crazy she looked.
It's gonna be weird without Magneto.
Well,
Yeah.
but they have X-Men now.
Yeah, but they'd have to bring them, and then they'd have to be established as X-Men.
Yeah, I think they'll get a reboot franchise after Dark Phoenix.
I hope so.
So, or they'll just continue the Dark Phoenix timeline in modern day, because obviously, remember, Dark Phoenix still takes place in like the 90s, I
In
think.
case you were wondering, Paul, there is no character that exists in the MCU. Yep, I say none that have been introduced to us that can do anything about the Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hulk included. I mean, just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, but there's
Just,
still
I
time.
don't know if you knew that.
Thanos with the
But I mean,
Power levels are important. Modern power levels are important. They change.
I assume Dark Phoenix is going to be taken care of at the end, or Phoenix is going to be taken care of at the end of Dark Phoenix. So
Yeah, no, but the Phoenix is still there. The Phoenix as a entity
Oh.
is still just
Yeah.
it's just
who knows how that's going to work out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just
all right.
there.
So I just want to end with Thanos, because we saw at the end of Infinity War a lot of people talking about Thanos was right, and I was never one of those people. I'm like, the dude's a genocidal maniac. Right,
Yeah.
and people are like, "Oh, it's not really genocide because it's like random." And I was like,
Who are these
okay,
people?
Blah blah.
Who are you
Who
talking
says
about?
that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think you find the
Internet
strangest
people,
you
internet people,
Where are
Reddit
you-
people.
Where are you in the
Reddit
internet?
people.
Because it's
Because so there's an entire subreddit called Thanos is right.
no, I didn't know that.
There it is actually kind of funny. There was an entire subreddit Thanos was right, and it started off kind of small, but then it started going big, and it got really big. And the moderators and the creators decided they were just going to delete half the user, ban
That's
half
so
the users from the
fucking
subreddit all at
funny.
once, and they did it,
Oh no,
and it was great. Like everybody was happy, everybody was excited about it, and like they totally did it.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Anyway, but there were some people out there like, "Oh, Thanos was right," and like, there's a point to be made there about this, explosion of life consuming all available resources and all that stuff, right? Now here's, and you need to bring it back in check. Okay, I get what you're saying from a radical environmentalist viewpoint, and you may be right in some respects, Thanos. Okay. Wiping out half the sentient, or not even sentient life, half the life in the universe, not the answer to that. And here's several reasons why it's not the answer to that. And they actually address it in this movie in ways that it wasn't even clear at the end of Infinity War, which is the whole point of wiping out half the life is to say, hey, you're consuming the resources too quickly. People go hungry, and this is a problem,
They
right?
fight over it. Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing. He clearly wiped out half of all life,
Yep.
not evolved sentient life.
Yeah, you can't.
Which means he wiped out animals.
Yeah.
So you also cut the food supply in half. What problem did you solve there, Thanos? I guess you solved the problem of energy, maybe, because they're all driving electric Audis here in the future.
Raw materials.
Okay, sure. I got you. Okay. But you also just wiped out half their food supply. Doesn't make sense. So there was clue number one that his plan never made sense. Clue number two was in this one, which is his whole plan now is like, you know what? The people that are left behind, they'll never move on. They'll never forget it. They'll always try to go back. I know what I got to do now. I got to kill all the life in the universe, and I got to start over, and they're not going to know about all this.
What happens to Siamese twins?
Okay. Yeah, well, one of them dies.
Oh, dark.
No, they probably stay. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? We should ask Thanos.
Also, it's conjoined twins. Siamese
sorry.
twins is a misnomer.
Oh, sorry. Conjoined twins.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh man, I totally lost where I was now. That totally derailed me.
I know it's.
I got it. Okay. So Thanos, his plan in this one now is we're gonna wipe out all life in the entire universe, and I'm just gonna start over. I'm gonna create all new life.
Yep.
I'm gonna create the new Big Bang, right? Okay, but then you say that I'm not gonna tell them all about what happened before, So they're just gonna start their universe anew. Why wouldn't they just make the exact same decisions? I mean, clearly the point of this, clearly what you're trying to say here is this is just the way life works, right? Like you just grow exponentially because that's your natural tendency.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get to a point where you can stop yourself from dying easily due to disease or medicine or whatever, or attacks, right? You have medicine, you have science. Now you can prevent yourself from dying easily, but you just keep reproducing. That's where the problem comes into the can. If you cut out half the universe, the other half has already learned those lessons, right? Like if you were to cut the population of the earth in half today, population, I don't think population would start to grow exponentially again. So we would learn the lessons and we would actually continue with our slow population growth and maintain our resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you started a whole new universe again, it's eventually going to get to the same point. They never learned the lesson. You specifically made it to where they didn't learn the lesson.
I mean,
you're just going to have this problem again.
This is a strange.
I think you just want to kill people.
I find this to be a strange thing to be wound up about. Honestly, I mean, he's okay. Fine, he makes them so that they don't do that. He's God. Then
I know. Okay, so that's the other thing. So then you take away free will.
I don't.
The
think
only
he
other
cares.
option is to take away free will, and he doesn't care. That's why he's a fascist, and therefore not right.
I think we
Fuck you, Thanos is right, people. He's a fascist. He's a genocidal maniac fascist.
I'm just surprised anyone didn't know that. I hear
Hashtag
that you're
Thanos.
talking to people.
Yeah, a
that
lot of
think
people love Thanos.
I just what a strange argument.
A lot of people
to make.
love Thanos.
I mean, I like him. He's a good bad guy, but he's a bad guy.
I felt like he was a worse bad guy in this movie.
It's fine.
Because
Yeah, I feel like they made him way worse in this movie.
They did make him way worse. Because all of his idiocy, all of those idiotic problems I just mentioned were fruit. And then on top of that, he was not even in most of the movie. And then when he did, he was really strong. They made him appear stronger than he did in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because he was like wrecking people and like breaking vibranium shields. It's like, I didn't even know this was possible.
He beat the Hulk, period.
That's
Well,
true.
okay,
He
They
did beat-
established a
okay.
power level there.
Sure, but yes, to you. But they have not established in this universe that the Hulk is unbeatable the way it is in the comic
Well,
books.
he beat Thor twice.
They never established in this universe that
times.
Thor was unbeatable.
No, but we established power levels. As far as we've gone, I don't think they've established anyone stronger than Hulk, even in the MCU. No one had beaten the Hulk. And then Thanos is immediately within like the first few minutes of the movie. So like, okay, there's the
But
top.
who did the Hulk fight? He fought. I don't even remember who he fought in the Edward Norton movie because who remembers
cares?
that? But he fought
Thor. And then
he fought Thor. But okay, so
But
they're
all
friends.
you have to do is say who did Thor beat.
So and then he beat some space whales.
But all you have to do is say who did Thor beat now. Is there anyone who
He beat Hela and he beat some elves.
So Hulk beats those guys.
Great.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so he's the top.
Well, okay, but like you haven't gone through all permutations.
No, I mean, you have to introduce a character that would be stronger. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
But my point is it had never been said or never really even been implied. It's just all we have is these small amount of fights where somebody wins. And in the case of Thor versus Hulk, okay, Hulk wins, but like Thor's not dead. So like and in that same movie he loses his powers, right? And then in this movie he's Professor Hulk, so he's just trotting around in sweater vests the whole time. So you don't get this impression that he's really strong. So Thanos therefore because it just wasn't established in the MCU as much that Hulk is this undefeatable thing, and therefore if Thanos beats him, that makes him crazy. Yeah, I don't feel like it was established the same way in the MCU. So in the first movie, it's like, yes, he's strong and he's powerful. I got you. But in this movie, he just seems so much more powerful, but he also just seems so two-dimensional. Like, I feel bad for Josh Brolin because all that credit he got for how well he did in Infinity War totally went out the window on this one. He just didn't have much to do.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It wasn't about him. It's just I do think it diminishes character. Which I'm actually not against because, again, he sucks. So, fuck your Thanos is right, people. Anyway.
Yeah, you're strange. You're strange if you think that. I don't know what else to say. I'm not going to argue all this about it. Like, if you think that, that's a peculiar position to take.
Yep.
And I have a modest proposal for you if you're really concerned about life, like overwhelming everybody. I mean, like, yeah, if it becomes a point where we run out of food, you will just eat each other.
Yep.
It really isn't that bad. Relax.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's it. Does anybody else have anything to cover?
Nah, it was good.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Recommendations?
I liked it. Yeah, you should totally watch it.
Jeremy?
Absolutely watch it.
Yeah, here's the thing.
That's also something Star Wars doesn't have though. Is it doesn't have that just it has some robot humor every now and then for the kids, but like in general, all the story elements are played straight.
I mean,
okay, go
I
ahead.
don't know if you could say that about the prequels.
Tell me one that isn't played straight, other than Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Other than Jar Jar.
I mean, I'm gonna say,
but he's like two scenes after the first.
I
one.
mean, it could just be Hayden Christensen's acting was so bad, but like I felt like none of it was played straight. I felt like all of it felt like a joke.
You know what I like to think about? No, don't say that. You know what I like to think about Hayden Christensen being shitty in those movies?
George Lucas's fault.
Well, no.
Because they were all shitty, and we know Natalie Portman's not a shitty.
No. It's what we have. I try not to talk bad about the prequels. It's what we have. It's what we were given.
Yeah.
So, I like to think about how I think about myself at 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I like to think that that's just how Darth Vader remembers himself.
Okay.
Just,
well, whatever helps you sleep at night, Jason.
Just,
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
It does.
Anyway, yeah, here's the thing. If you've watched the last 21 Avengers movie or MCU movies, you're going to see this one. If you have seen, I would say if you've seen fewer than 10 Marvel movies in the past, maybe brush up before you go watch this one because you're going to need a lot more backstory. As a standalone movie, not that great because everybody just kind of dumps in there and you don't know what's what if you haven't watched all the other ones. But that's not the way this is meant to be enjoyed. And I do think that is relatively unique to this time period. And I do think that is why this will be remembered.
For sure. It will be definitely a hallmark, a thing of history.
Yes. And so be part of history. If I broke my rule to go to a theater and watch this and had to listen to a dude snore for an hour through the ending,
then you
while
should...
Tony Stark was dying, I was listening to...
If Paul can do that, then you can go watch it and then like and subscribe.
And then like and subscribe, comment. Oh, and then watch all our other content here on youtube.com Casual Notion, or go watch us live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Casual Notion. We're doing some gameplay stuff, some podcasting stuff. It's going to be fun. You can watch us on YouTube tonight, which actually this won't go live till tomorrow. So you can watch us on Sunday nights after Game of Thrones at approximately 15 minutes after it's over, 15, 20 minutes after it's over. And follow us on social media, twitter.com/Casual Notion, instagram.com/Casual Notion, and facebook.com/Casual Notion. And with that,
bye.
Later.
Keep it casual, everyone.